Well, folks, here we are. We're late again, but, it's kind of par for the course as far as SKL is concerned, but it's kind of par for the course as far as... and I hear feedback. But we've got a reasonably good show lined up for you, and, more episodes of Bel Air have aired this week, and Carlton, wow, you make the Alfonso Ribeiro incarnation look like a saint compared to the version that you see on Peacock, because for context, folks, the Carlton that we knew with Alfonso, he could be a little bit conniving, hey Sean, and what have you, but his heart was in the right place. This Carlton, or as I prefer to refer to him as evil incarnate, he has no problem having drugs planted in Will's backpack and blackmailing his own father.
What?
Yeah, for context, a drunk ice tray spills the beans to Carlton, the circumstances of how Will got here, and then proceeds to have a talk with Uncle Phil, who's played by Adrian Holmes. And I really like this version of Uncle Phil. The basic essence of James Avery is there, but he's not trying to copy Avery. He's trying to do his own thing, because James Avery's Uncle Phil is timeless. And it's not like... It's such an iconic portrayal. Why touch that? So he's explaining to Carlton why he had to do what he had to do, and he goes, "You preached to me about the justice and law, and you broke the law." And I'm looking afar from the screen. It's like, complains to his dad that he broke the law. And it's like, wow, this coming from a crack addict. Nice way to contradict yourself, asshole.
Yeah, you told me that this new Carlton does crack.
Yep. And his friend Connor, who's also his dealer. And I'm not... No. He is not Connor. No. He is now Connor Bitch Boy.
I do.
And,
honestly, if I'm being honest, that ain't nothing new, especially when it comes to private schools. Everyone thinks it's hunky-dory, but there's some shady shit that goes on.
Oh, it gets better. Goes to provoke Will, not once, but twice. Will punches him, and then Will's the one who receives a restraining order. And I'm like, I think Lids will appreciate this. Okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, Bel Air's getting interesting, and Hillary's been accepted into a social media influencer house, which Vivian kind of objects to, but when Phil starts laying out what profits most of the social media influencers have generated over the last year alone, she's like, oh, okay. And can I just say, Cassandra Freeman, who plays this generation's Aunt Viv, how you doing? Oh, she's a looker. I mean, to be fair, both the actresses who played Aunt Viv in the original, whether it be Janet Hubert or Daphne Maxwell Reid, they were both nice on the eyes, but as Corey from Double Toasted says, it's like Aunt Viv is hot. I mean, he's like, makes no bones about it. And he did take exception to the fact that Jeffrey, the butler, looks like a supermodel, and I'm like, okay, I can...
Well, like a super agent.
Yeah. But to be fair, the way the actor who plays him, you could tell that the casting agents may have been inspired by Idris Elba, because the way he speaks and his little mannerisms and his charisma, he's definitely got that Idris feel about him. But unlike the Joseph Marcel one, which I got a lot of love for that one, because it's just the sort of dry wit he had, this Jeffrey is very cool, very laid back, tends to read people a lot, and he tends to be Phil's sort of, I don't want to say partner in crime, but they're sort of two people that listen to each other and give each other necessary criticisms and advice. Because when Phil's trying to work out what to do with Will because he just keeps getting in trouble, Jeffrey says something to the effect of, "I've seen him in his unguarded moments looking around the house and see if he's doing the right thing. You need to meet him where he is." And I'm like, I like that. And Sean says Pokemon Gen 9 is coming. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little excited.
Mind you,
She saw the grass starter type, and she's been giddy ever since.
Is that a cat or a dog?
It looks like a cat to me.
mind you, speaking of new gens, I never thought this thing would see the light of day. Why now is the time for the Rocketeer sequel? The 91 original was a near box office bomb, which, by the way, the original featured a very, very young, blanking on names, Betty Ross in Hulk 2003. Oh, Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, because she was in the original. But there are good reasons for believing a follow-up will fare better. In August, it was reported that after years of attempting to get the project off the ground, Disney was at last moving forward with a sequel to The Rocketeer. With award-winning actor and producer David Oyelowo, I hope I pronounced that right, on board. The premise of the return of the Rocketeer involves a Tuskegee airman who unexpectedly inherits the jetpack of the original Rocketeer, Cliff Seckard. Question: wasn't the jetpack of the original destroyed?
Okay, you say Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I know we're gonna have a close. I might be interested in this.
Although the film is still in writing, Oyelowo went on record earlier saying this month that the sequel is still in the 1940s. Okay. News that will please fans of the original. Okay, the fact it's not going to move away too far from the original, that's a good sign. Because imagine like a Rocketeer movie set in day and now, I'll be like, well, that's easy to do because, you know, we've seen Iron Man, we know that's possible. But to have it still done in the 40s, it's like, you know, where it looks experimental, that would work. The 91 film became a curio. While not exactly a box office bomb, it made a modest profit on then a substantial $35 million budget. That's how inflation was back then, folks. The film was coolly received by audiences. Coolly. Okay. Despite some excellent direction from Joe Johnston, then fresh from a smash hit in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, an amiable leading couple in Billy Campbell and Jennifer Connelly, and a bravura performance from then James Bond actor Timothy Dalton. Yes, it was a damn good performance from his part. Playing a villain, I might add.
Ooh.
His portrayal of slimy antagonist Neville Sinclair foreshadowed his highly successful later pivot into playing villains in films such as Hot Fuzz and Doctor Who. I didn't know he played a villain in Doctor Who. That's interesting.
Well, he was in The End of Time, the last David Tennant story.
Ah.
He was Rathalon.
The enormous appeal of the central concept, who hasn't daydreamed on plane flights about flying through the clouds on the other side of the window, ensured that the Rocketeer was destined to come around once more. It may be the case that now is exactly the right moment to reintroduce audiences to the story. Diesel Punk has arrived. Okay, we've got steampunk, we've got cyberpunk, diesel punk. Why not? Just don't everyone. Just don't come out as Kevin Nash. Okay, just saying.
Oh, God!
Quad alert.
Yeah.
The original movie was a rather strange addition to the usual roster of blockbusters that were released in summer of '91. That year's biggest hits were mostly either out and sci-fi films: Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country, fantasy films, Hook, Beauty and the Beast. There is only one Beauty and the Beast movie. Changed my mind. Or comedies. The Addams Family, Hot Shots, love Hot Shots, The Naked Gun, 2.5, The Smell of Fear. Nor was the climate on TV more welcoming to the Rocketeers' eclectic blend of 1930s period piece and diesel punk overtones. Sci-fi was dominated by Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yes, it was. While the success of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles the following year proved there was a market for television set in the 30s. It was achieved off the back of a well-known movie franchise. Fast forward to 22, and things are different, ain't they just?
Yeah.
Starting with the massive box office success in 2003 of The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, a TV version was reported some years ago as being in development. Oh boy. Diesel Punk
I can't lie. If I can interject, I still enjoyed League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, even though it bombed.
Okay. Diesel Punk has gone mainstream with a slew of successors on the big and small screens that are thoroughly and acquainted audiences with the aesthetic. The Man in the High Castle was on nodding terms of it, and the dated and dirty look of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett would have been subtly different. Less streamlined, more futuristic without it. The outlandish prospect of a man flying through the skies with a rocket this bat might have left audiences scoffing back in 91. It won't now. At base, The Rocketeer is a superhero film. Yeah, let's call it for what it is. It's basically 1930s Iron Man. After all, Dave Stevens' creation first graced not the silver screen, but the pages of comic books such as Star Slayer in the early 1980s. Secord has all the usual attributes of a superhero: mask, non-de-plume, extraordinary abilities. Superheroes were not exactly difficult to come by Hollywood in the early 1990s. Tim Burton's Batman movies by being a case in point. I should point out, the first Tim Burton Batman movie was 89. That's not a 90s movie. But in the climate in Hollywood today, so much more amiable to superhero movies, especially with one such as unusual premise. The Return of the Rocketeer as the sequel is provisionally titled stands a good chance of fitting in and standing out. The sequel should manage this because, unlike so many other superhero movies to come out of Marvel stable in the past decade or so, the suspension of disbelief is required to enjoy the Rocketeer so much smaller than is ordinarily the case. There are no sky beams, no villains transporting through portals from other dimensions. Even the tech that gives the main character his abilities is now in existence. Christopher Nolan tumbled to the possibility of making his Batman stand out from the cartoonish incarnation offered up by predecessor Joel Schumacher in just this way, giving more or less believable explanations for the creation of the Batmobile, the Batsuit, and other Bat-related paraphernalia. The central premise behind the Rocketeer's jetpack, knocked up by boffins in the employ of none other than Howard Hughes, according to the 91 film, is even more straightforward and assures few hang-ups in the believability takes. Okay, I'll give my 2 cents on the brass taxes of this. It's an interesting movie to bring. It's an interesting movie franchise to bring back. I find it a little bit weird they've waited 30 years to do this, but then again, we were all talking last year how, you know, it took 32 years to make a brand new Ghostbusters movie. So, but then again, Ghostbusters by that point had already had two movies, whereas The Rocketeer was only like one movie. So it'll be intriguing to see what the story will be, who will be cast in it, and where the direction of the story will go, because the problem with a lot of Hollywood pictures, even when they do period pieces, they try to inject some modern aesthetics in there, which I have a little bit of a problem with. I mean, it's one thing if you have a premise like with Back to the Future where someone's time travel to the past, and you have, your future character that's using modern way of speaking, you think, well, okay, that's fine because it's time travel. But because you're having a movie set within a specific time period, you have to talk how they did. Granted, there are some things from the 40s, if it were said normally today, like, yeah, you can't say that. So there's probably going to be a method of filtering out what is unacceptable, but still at the same time being historically accurate and authentic. At the very least, it'd be nice if Jennifer Connelly is given like a small cameo as like a secondary or tertiary character, where she's just there for like maybe 2 minutes, but it's just a wink to the audience, like, we know who you were in the original. That's all I got to say about that. Steve, do you remember the original movie, and what's your thoughts on the prospect of a sequel coming?
Don't think I ever saw The Rocketeer. Just the whole talk about it just reminds me of a project that somebody tried to do a while back, but didn't really get funded. It was something similar called War of the Rocket Men, and it was an idea that was proposed on Indiegogo with a lot of the people behind the 90s Spider-Man series.
Ah, okay.
Sadly, the project never got enough funding to be made, and it was a shame because Ed Asner was also on board with the project as well.
Damn.
It's just, I think it's a case of, do people want to see The Rocketeer? Because when I was with a gaming group last night, made a kind of like a monthly thing, a lot of people were saying that they're just getting tired of superhero movies.
I think that's fair, because if you go back to, say, the 90s, the only superhero movies that dominated the 90s, let's call it for what it is, it was Batman. Because the first Blade movie was 98, and I think Spawn was 95, 96?
I think it was 97, I think.
Okay. And then you have The Mask in 94, but the fact remains, in the 90s, it was 3 Batman movies.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the last...
Also, Marvel. Also, remember, Marvel wasn't doing too well until Blade came into the picture.
Yeah.
Until Iron Man came along.
Well, even then, throughout the 2000s, there would be, with the exception of 2001, because I don't think there were any superhero movies from either Marvel or DC, but since 2000, there's been at least 2 to 3 Marvel movies out per year, whereas ever since the MCU really started gaining momentum, there's at least 3 to 4 movies on average per year. Because, like I say, 2000 you have X-Men, 2001 nothing, 2002 Spidey, nothing after that one, 03 Daredevil, and then the Hulk. 04. Oh yeah, and also in 03 that was X2, the best X-Men movie. Changed my mind.
I agree.
2004 Spider-Man 2 was definitely out. I'm just trying to remember what other Marvel movie was out that year, because I know
Punisher.
Thank you. 05 Batman Begins, and then the Fantastic Four. I'm sorry, I don't know why, but I love the way Stan said that. 06 X-Men 3.
Ugh, I fucking with the movie.
And
Didn't
Well,
Spider-Man
okay.
3 came out the same
Okay.
year as X-Men 3?
Nah, that
Was
came
it?
out. That came out in 07.
Yeah, those years seem to be a bit of a blur for me.
and then in 06 as well, Superman Returns.
Uh,
But I was about to say the only thing I like about X3 was Kelsey Grammer's performance as Beast.
Yes.
He had him down to a T.
Mm-hmm. 07, that was fantastic for Rise of the Silver Surfer. I feel like that movie gets unfairly bashed. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's alright.
Yeah, I liked it. It was really good. It was actually not too bad.
Just trying to remember what else came out that year, because oh yeah, Spider-Man 3. Yeah, we don't talk about that movie. Then in 08...
Even though it was the birth of Bully Maguire.
A fucking meme. Then 08, obviously, the birth of the MCU with Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk. And then 09, all we had was X-Men Origins, Wolverine.
And Watchmen.
Raiden, what'd you say?
Watchmen.
Oh yeah, that was really well done. I mean, all right, a little bit heavy on the violence and some of the sex scenes, but it's Zack Snyder, so you know what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Half it was part of the comic. The rest was Snyder's, being Snyder.
Yeah. And then, of course, once it got to like 2010, 2011, that's when things really started getting ramped up because I suppose from one perspective, the studios are just striking while the iron's hot. It's just like, no, let's make money out of this. This is really popular at the moment, but superhero movies are not going to disappear. I just think over the next 10 years, we're just going to gradually see them come down a little bit because video game movies seem to be the next thing to go to because...
I mean, Uncharted.
And, after so many years of movie adaptations of video games not really hitting the mark, Sonic finally broke the mold. But Jeff Fowler in particular, because my brother blew my mind with this. Jeff Fowler was actually one of the CG artists on not only Sonic Adventure, but Shadow the Hedgehog.
Ooh.
What?
And Tim Miller as well. So the fact that those two were brought in to do Sonic is like they'd already been working with the Sonic series for years.
Damn.
So Jeff Fowler knew what he was doing. Let me gone off topic again. Lids, how do you feel about a Rocketeer sequel? Is it something that's really necessary now?
I mean, to be all honesty, I think it'd be a niche kind of thing where it's like, oh, you remember this? Well, here's the sequel, even though it happened 30 years ago. I'm like, okay. I mean, I understand too little too late kind of works for some people, but I'm more of a wait and see. I need to see a trailer before they're actually going to get this off the ground, but no pun intended. But I don't know. I'm of two minds about it. It's like it could be good, it could be bad. I don't know, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
As our adorable superheroine Winda Rogue often says, the proof in the pudding is in the eating.
Mm-hmm.
And that said, we turn to our own superhero, Blade Raiden. How do you feel about a Rocketeer sequel? Is that something you can rock to, or is it one of those, pass?
Honestly, I was I was gonna pass on it, but when you mentioned something about a Tuskegee Airman becoming Rocketeer, I'm slightly intrigued. I mean, okay, I watched a little bit of the original. I thought it was okay, but I really wasn't interested. So with this setting, all right, I might be down for it. I mean, you never know. So I'm slightly intrigued. So I'll check it out when more details come out about it.
Alright, and sticking with the theme of superheroes, will the new Batgirl movie be inspired by Batman Beyond? Beyond is an undeniable cult classic. Yes, it is. Will this year's Batgirl follow in its footsteps? Bruce Timm's Batman the Animated Series was an iconic piece of television from the 90s. The show was immensely popular both in the mainstream and fan zeitgeist, so much that characters created specifically for that show, Harley Quinn, received their very own space in Batman lore. The animated series continues to serve as a source of inspiration for a plethora of Batman projects currently in the works. A retelling of sorts is even confirmed to be in the works from original creator Bruce Timm. When the series ended in 1995, Timm created the new Batman Adventures, though not as popular as the series did win a few daytime Emmys and introduced new characters like Nightwing to a larger audience. And to be fair, they only did the new Batman Adventures because Superman the Animated Series was doing well, and they thought, well, they brought Batman in and he's doing well, so why not bring him back again? Following the end of the show, fans were greeted with the cyberpunk spectacle that is Batman Beyond, featuring the original Batman voice actor Kevin Conroy. Beyond told the story of an elderly Bruce Wayne mentoring Terry McGinnis as Neo Gotham's Batman, excuse me. Now, how does this year's Batgirl movie fall into all of this, and are fans in for a retelling of the iconic Batman Beyond story? Add a bit of Michael Keaton. Oh, that will always go around nicely. Batman Beyond gained a cult following and was critically loved across the board. It was generally darker and much more gritty than other superhero cartoons at the time and featured a radical take of Gotham City. The animated movie Return of the Joker was a fever dream of nostalgia, solid storytelling, and the return of fan favourite Mark Hamill as the Joker. Conroy's iconic performance was a welcome addition to the show, and as such, it served as a true sequel to the animated series. When it was announced that Ben Affleck would no longer be playing Batman Bruce Wayne, there were rumours that Warner Bros. Was trying to adapt Batman Beyond to the big screen. This is still up in the air, but fans did get confirmation that Michael Keaton will return as Batman in this year's The Flash, acting as a Nick Fury type. Keaton will be present in The Flash to unite multiple timelines. No doubt Warner Bros. Hopes to emulate the success of Spider-Man No Way Home. But the addition of Keaton the Flash goes beyond. See what we did there? Little Michael Rosen there. Just fan service. He was confirmed to have a starring role in the Batgirl film alongside fellow 90s alum Brendan Fraser and Leslie Grace as the titular heroine. Thus began the speculation that this story would be borrowing heavily from Beyond. This week, fans were greeted with set images from Batgirl of Keaton in his iconic black and yellow suit. While it has undergone a few upgrades, the costume is iconic as ever and is seriously intimidating. And just remember, I'm Batman. Some scoopers have claimed that this may be a flashback scene, harking back to Batman's crime-fighting days. Time will tell as the film is slated for release later this year, but how does this all add up? It could be through post-events of The Flash that Keaton's Bruce Wayne will be brought to the present timeline and will act as Batgirl's mentor, a la Batman Beyond. He will serve as a guiding force for Batman and teach her his own brand of crime-fighting He will serve as a guiding force for Batman and teach... when did Barbara Gordon become Batman? Okay, that's a little typo you need to fix there, Movie Web. No doubt this will be pretty intriguing to see on screen for the first time. The only gripe with this storyline is that it will all sounds a bit confusing. We don't know what timeline the film is working it with, but we'll find out once we see The Flash later this year. Thus far, audiences were aware that Ezra Miller's Flash was in the same universe as Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill's Superman. Would this mean that Batgirl and the film would be based around Keaton's universe? Does this mean that somewhere down the line, similar to Batman Beyond, we would see Jack Nicholson return as the Joker to duke it out with Keaton with the help of Batgirl? Please, 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 please. You imagine, like,
Don't tease us.
It's like, tell me something, my friend. Do you dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? You asked me this once before and I told you yes. Oh, did I? Yes. Do you know how I got these scars? That's someone else's shtick. Never rub another man's rhubarb. Though that means something else entirely. That's not PG. We're PG now? Oh, fickle muffins. And we'll just look at the Joker like, what? Okay, I thought I'd get a slight laugh, but never mind. When Batgirl was first announced, fans were dubious about what Warner Brothers had in store for the character. Barbara Gordon has so many iconic storylines, who could forget that moment in The Killing Joke where Joker shoots her in the spine, leaving her to become Oracle. And if you saw the Killing Joke animated movie, Joker had more fun than he should have been allowed to have. We will go no further with that. Considering the Yeah. Considering the studio's track record, a fair amount of doubt is warranted. This was further exacerbated by the fact that Firefly was cast as the main villain in the movie. Granted, Brandon Fraser is having a bit of a revival. The character he plays is not particularly memorable and has no real fan following. 2004's The Batman begs to differ. If Warner Brothers did indeed base this film on Batman Beyond, like it's shaping up to be, why not just go ahead and remake the iconic cartoon for the big screen with Keaton? Hello? We've been asking for that for 20 years. Hopefully fan doubts are proven wrong and both DC and the Batverse will return to their former glory. How to call this? Sean goes, but that would cost us money just to log in and change a couple of texts. Please. It sounds interesting. For all we know, it could just be that the scenes with Keaton in posing as Batman in the Batgirl movie could be a flashback scene, or it could be he's still going at it, because here's the thing, folks, this man is in his 70s and is in amazing shape. So, I don't know. All we have thus far are speculation and set photos to go off, so again, like our resident Lena Inverse says, the proof in the pudding will be in the eating. And that said, we go to our own Catwoman in Lydia. What do you think?
I definitely could see this. It's like, honestly, I would like an original story where Batgirl's being mentored by Batman without having to be Batman Beyond, if that's what they're going with. Just tell an original story. Just don't go Killing Joke route, because that's really awkward. No.
Yeah.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. No.
Nope.
But again, it's like everyone said, I'm waiting to see. But if they do go this route, I'm fine with it. But I would just like an original story or something a little different.
I feel you.
Just a thought. Originality isn't a bad thing.
Nope.
It really isn't.
Nope. What's your thoughts, Raiden?
If any, honestly, I'll take anything at this point to get more Batman Beyond stuff. I mean, yes, we're getting that in comics, but it's at the point. Just put it. Just put everything futuristic within different forms of media when it comes to Batman on movies. It's like the world needed it. I mean, for the longest time, you as a Batman Beyond fan, you wanted this more than ever. So.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a good idea.
I think if they want, in terms of visual aesthetics, if they do ever make a full-on live-action adaptation of Batman Beyond, as much as we've slandered the live-action Ghost in the Shell movie, production and set value, you look at that and you think, that would work for Batman Beyond. because again, the movie's terrible, but in terms of the future, the cyberpunk aesthetic, that movie got it spot on.
I could think of, reminds me of a bunch of other movies it could also take inspiration from.
Such as?
Like Blade Runner?
Yeah? Trying to think what else. Not necessarily, take too many inspirations, but maybe some from Demolition Man, because there is a fair amount of futuristic stuff in there, but compared to, say, Ghost in the Shell and Blade Runner, it's very minimal. What do you think, Steve? Steve? Okay, Discord's being a butt again.
Of course.
Alright, Steve, your thoughts on Batgirl being inspired by Batman Beyond? How do you think they'll play that?
Until I hear anything more, I'm going to be waiting for a trailer.
That's fair.
Yeah,
yeah, that's fair. Because, again, all we've got are set photos, and they're looking to get this out by September, so...
We've still got time, and besides, if we still don't know how the movie's going to play out, and until the first teaser drops, we're still in the dark mostly.
Yep. All right. We're moving away from Batman-related stuff to a not-so-popular figure with lids at the moment. And here's the thing, I'm not going to rain on this guy because he's actually saying something respectful. Kevin Smith pays tribute to Ghostbusters director Ivan Reitman. He gave us some of the best movies. Filmmaker and geek icon Kevin Smith took some time out during the latest episode of the Fat Man Beyond podcast to remember the life and work of Ghostbusters director Ivan Reitman. The filmmaker who also directed films like Meatballs and Ivan Reitman, and there's obviously some other movies there he's left out, surprisingly had a profound impact on Smith, whose brand of comedy leans heavily on pop culture references and shared experience of fandom. Smith co-hosts Fat Man Beyond with Mark Bernardin, and in the second half of the latest episode, the pair talked about Reitman, who passed away in his sleep earlier this month. The entertainment industry has been awash in love for the filmmaker since. Our family is grieving the unexpected loss of a husband, father, and grandfather who taught us all to always seek the magic in life. Jason Caroline Reitman said in a joint statement earlier this month. We take comfort that his work as a filmmaker brought laughter and happiness to countless others around the world. While we mourn privately, we hope those who knew him through his films will remember him always. Smith remembered Reitman as a filmmaker who gave us some of the best movies and shaped a lot of our childhood. You can see Smith's comments a little after 40 minutes in the video below. Yeah. There's not really a lot to say with regards to what, Smith has said. He's just being very respectful and paying tribute to Ivan, so yeah. It's brief, but it's to the point, and it's respectful. Yeah. That's it. Steve, your 2 cents.
Well, he's not wrong in that regard. I mean, Ivan Reitman did give us some great films, and you'll always be remembered for that.
Yep.
Not much else to say.
Agreed. Raiden?
Excuse me. As much as Kevin Smith gave us, new Masters of the Universe, I respect it.
Lids?
It's a nice tribute. Whatever people have bad things to say about about Kevin Smith nowadays. Again, I have no ill will towards him. He's made his mistakes. We all understand that, but it's nice that he was able to like put aside his ego to pay tribute to Ivan Reitman, and more power to him. Okay, just try and keep your mouth shut about certain things, Kevin, will be fine.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Good point.
Going back to Batman-related articles, and this concerns one Mr. Colin Farrelly. He fought valiantly for Penguin to smoke cigar. There are a couple of things that DC fans think of when they ponder the Penguin. His trademark nose, his umbrellas, his walk-in style of speaking, his monocle. Meh. Oh no, wait, Penguin's turned into Skeletor. Oh no, do not let those two do the fusion dance.
No! Ah!
What would he call himself?
Skelepenguin? That'd be a very awkward meeting between Bats and He-Man. It's like, two of our greatest nemeses have fused. I don't know whether to take this guy seriously or burst out laughing. And He-Man will go, no, trust me, don't take himself seriously whatsoever. It's not worth it. And often it's times a smoking habit, often a long cigarette holder. For the upcoming The Batman, Colin Farrell takes on the role, and though this version will seem in the upcoming film is only on his way to becoming the Penguin, that we know, we shouldn't expect him to see him smoking, ever. Speaking in an interview, Colin Farrell shut down the potential for his Oswald Cobblepot to be seen smoking, noting the studio squashed it. I don't think the cigarette in the holder will happen, he told Jake's Takes while John Turturro laughed. Big studios make big decisions and such things as the presence of cigarettes in films. I fought valiantly for a cigar. At one stage I said, I can have it unlit, just let me have it unlit. They were like, nope. As if a bunch of 12-year-olds are going to start smoking Cuban cigars because of it. I have to agree with Colin on that one. I mean, how would 12-year-olds be able to get a hold of of Cuban cigars?
And sorry to interlude, but isn't The Batman a 15-rated film?
Exactly. I have no idea where it goes, but pardon the pun, it's the tip of the iceberg. Colin, if you were subscribed to this channel, you'd be paying bits. Sorry. He added, he hasn't embodied the energy of the Penguin that we recognize from the sourced comics and previous films, so I'll see if it goes again. I'd love to explore it because he's just an underboss. He's not a boss, but he's a soldier of the Falcone at this stage, but he has a great ambition and dreams of doing big things. It's kind of like the version of the Penguin that we saw in Gotham. He's not a boss, but he's working his way up. And Robin Lord Taylor, good lord, he sold that role in spades. And what I like that they did as with the prosthetic, you can see the shape of his nose being like the Penguin, but you have to look at it very carefully. It's very subtle. It's not like in your face like Danny DeVito's was. It's just it's shaped very slightly downwards, but it's done in a way whereby, okay, you're making it known there, but you're not drawing attention to it. I like that. The actor is set to reprise his role in an HBO Max TV series that further explores his character in this new reinvention of Gotham. Corin shared his excitement for the potential to return. It's just that kind of an amazing character to explore, his kind of awkwardness and his strength and his villainy, yes, his propensity for violence. But there's also a heartbroken man inside that which just makes it real tasty. I would love to do that. I won't believe it until I'm in the suit and Mike Marino's makeup and I hear action, and then I'll see and believe. The Batman will soar into theaters on March 4th. Okay, this is where I've got to be that guy in the middle. I get the studio's point of view, saying that they're just trying to be that little bit more politically correct, but this is where I also take Collins and Stevens' side. The Batman's going to be, kind of heavily rated, so it's not going to be kid-friendly per se, and again, where are 12-year-olds going to get Cuban cigars from? It's one thing, with cheap cigarettes and what have you, but Cuban cigars are not cheap. As soon as a 12-year-old realizes how expensive they are, they'll be put off by it. It's like, I want a Cuban cigar. You got $60? Doesn't say a word, just backs away quietly. So, I get both sides, but I'm leaning towards Colin on this. It's bullshit. Steve.
As I said earlier, the Batman's going to be a 15-rated film here in the UK, so I'm surely you could get away with a little bit more than, say, a PG-13 rated movie. And it's a trademark thing for the Penguin to be smoking, whether it's a cigar or a cigarette holder. It's just something that shows that he's classy.
Yeah. I think they even had the character doing that in the animated series. Granted, I don't think his long, thin cigarettes were ever lit, but it was, it was in his mouth because it just completed the look.
It made him look more classy, especially when he was in charge of the Iceberg Lounge.
Oh, yeah. Plus, I like the voice actor that they had for the first couple of seasons before they changed things up in the New Adventures of Batman, and then when they did the Mystery of the Batwoman, where they changed the look and they changed the voice actor as well. Which I didn't see the point of changing the voice actors. I thought he did a great job. It's just whatever. Raiden.
Honestly, the way I feel about it. Hold on. Let me get another look at this. If anything, I give Colin Farrell all the praise in the world for fighting valiantly for the Penguin to smoke cigars, because honestly, I think that's a big staple of the Penguin itself. If you remember the Arkham games, mainly the second one, you definitely see Penguin smoking a cigar. I think it's been a while it's been a minute since I've seen highlights of that game, but yeah. So I definitely respect him trying to get something different with the character, because if you remember way back in 2003, he did play Bullseye in that really bad Daredevil movie. So yes. I think penance. Well, not really penance, but it wasn't on him, but still. But yeah, I respect him.
Litz?
I'm well. I feel like Colin Farrell's been doing a good job as, from what little I've seen, because I have not seen much of anything. I'm trying to avoid as many spoilers as I can. He doesn't look too bad, and it's his commitment to the role is good for you. It's because I couldn't recognize that was Colin Farrell. What
Me
the
neither.
shit?
Me neither.
But again, it's actually really cool, and I do kind of like this look for the Penguin. He's actually not trying to be Danny DeVito. He's trying to put his own spin on the character, and we all know that Oswald Cobblepot isn't some weird freak, because I don't know what the hell they were doing with the Tim Burton movie. Don't get me wrong, I like that movie. I'm why are we doing this again? Not really who Oswald Cobblepot is, but okay, sure. I like the version of that they're doing with that Colin Farrell's doing with this, and it's I'm glad that he fought for doing something like this, because I know for a fact they could have easily just carbon copied what Danny DeVito did. It's no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Good on him for fighting for it. So
In terms of the prosthetics, the only other time I've seen prosthetic makeup that impressive was what they did for Gary Oldman for Churchill.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's because the only way I was able to recognize it was Oldman is the way his eyes were sticking out, because the rest of the time I couldn't tell, because Oldman is one of those actors where he inhabits a role. I mean, when you look at him as Gordon, you don't see Gary Oldman. You see, Commissioner Gordon. When you look at him as Dracula, you don't see an actor. You see the Prince of Darkness. And interesting thing with, I think it's... Who is the actress that was playing there was two female leads in Bram Stoker's Dracula. There was Winona Ryder as Mina Harker, and then there was the character that Sadie Frost was playing.
Lucy?
Thank you. Apparently, in order to help Sadie get into character for certain scenes, he would whisper things to her, and then when Francis Ford Coppola got one of his, like, what did he say? I can't repeat what he said. Apparently he said stuff that got her pulse racing.
Oh no.
No. Pulse racing, not in the context of, oh my god, it's like, oh, how you doing?
Ah, okay. Let's clear up.
Onto something else now. Well, it's a lady that men and women look at for how she was doing, not just from looks, but her actions in the ring. Lita's reflecting on her women's championship match.
Oh.
Lita faced Becky for the World Women's Championship at the Elimination Chamber event this past weekend, making her first major singles match in a ring since 2006. Don't remind that to Oni because... Well, actually do remind that to Oni because that's how Mickie James got her Women's Championship at that time. She lost the bout,
Lord.
but was given the time to acknowledge the crowd's wild ovation after the match. This week she took to Instagram with a message for the fans. One experience. It's hard to put into words everything I've felt these past few weeks, but I can say the support I've received from all of you has touched me deeply. I thank you so much for the time you took to cheer me on and the faith you had in me to get back in the ring. To the women currently grinding on the road to keep raising the bar, you inspire me daily. If this was the end, I am so proud. If it's not, I will arrive more prepared, train harder, and find a way to dig deeper. It's unclear what the Hall of Famer's future with the company will be following this match. She's been brought back a number of times for women's Royal Rumble matches and was previously a kickoff show panelist, but Lynch has already moved on to her WrestleMania program with Bianca Belair. Lita left the door for more opportunities during a recent interview with Sports Illustrated. Shut up, phone. Currently, I was just asked to do this match. I know everything can change in the WWE at the drop of a hat. There is a lot of opportunity here, and just because there are no current plans ahead doesn't mean there won't be. This is also allowing me to focus on the task at hand, which is to put on a killer match and not focus on anything else except the chamber. WWE has announced a number of matches for WrestleMania 38, which you can see below. Other bouts have included rumored matches for Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville for the Intercontinental Championship, Edge versus AJ Styles. Edge versus AJ Styles. That will be a show stealer. And Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out of retirement for a match with Kevin Owens. I might just buy the pay-per-view for that. And the matches are follows from bottom to top. Rey and Dominic Mysterio versus The Miz and Logan Paul. Mulligan, don't care. Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Bianca. Bianca to take the W and her title back. The SmackDown Women's Championship, Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. Half mulligan Ronda. As long as you can shut up, Charlotte, I'll be happy. WWE and Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Come on, Brock Lesnar wins, lol. So gonna happen. Lids, your thoughts?
I mean, I do admire what she did, like stomaching having to go to that country. Don't get me wrong; there might be some decent people, but again, there's a bit of a. I don't want to say it because again, I could get in trouble, so I'll just keep my mouth shut about that. But
Things that you don't agree with.
Yeah, so it's like I'm glad that she was able to like at least wrestle one more time. She didn't look too bad in the match altogether, but again, Becky had to win because Becky is Becky, and but again, she did a good job, and she like again this opens up for more possibly more matches in the future, maybe, who knows? And as long as they treat her better than they treated Trish when she went out the door, someone is still mad about how Trish was treated when she was fed to Charlotte. Yeah, let's not talk about that.
No.
But it's like I'm really like glad that she like had a good time with getting back into the ring, and hopefully maybe we can see her do more ring performances in the future. Who knows?
All right.
I don't think she's done yet.
No. I mean, just from a visual standpoint, whenever she's been, just before the Rumble and, going on to Raw, I mean, Lita still looks good. And I like the fact when she was on SmackDown, Sass talking Charlotte, she was still rocking the midriff because that's an iconic piece of of her look from the 2000s. And it's like Oni said when we were doing commentary for It's Every Day, bro. I hate you for that, Jake Paul. The midriff is not something you see every day. It's, it was definitely a thing in the 90s, but kind of died out around 2003. So for Lita to bring that piece of imagery back for her look is like, okay, that's cool. Raiden, thoughts? Raiden?
We're having problems with Discord again.
It appears so. Ah, there you are. Your thoughts on Lita reflecting on her women's title match at the Chamber?
For what it's worth, it's much better than for what it's worth, it's much better than her send-off at Survivor Series 06.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's the only thing I'll say about it. The rest, that's all I'll say. My respect for her doing that final thing, and glad she was able to end on a high note on her terms.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. No, not yet. Alrighty. It is time for a treat. I'm just putting the link in the Twitch chat so that Sean's not missing out. I know Raiden in particular has waited for this.
Ooh.
Oh, this will be fun.
Oh, you have no idea.
I'm at 0.
A moment. No, damn it, phone. There we go. I'm at 0.
Just waiting on Raiden.
I'm at 0.
3, 2, 1, play. Riddle me this. Riddle me that. How long has it been since you saw this picture? In the 27 years since the theatrical release of 1995's Batman Forever, it represented a tone shift in the series' direction. Those that witnessed Batman Returns in 1992, they saw that the movie went full-on Tim Burton, and it went darker than executives, critics, and audiences were prepared for. Despite decent performances from Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Michael Keaton as Penguin, Catwoman, and Batman, respectively, the movie was seen as too dark for promotional merchandise, considering they were marketing toys and McDonald's Happy Meals to children. So, with the advent of the third movie and Tim Burton being done with directing Batman, the reins was handed to Joel Schumacher, which also meant Michael Keaton's departure. His thinking was, with the tone being lightened, it was missing the point of the character. That, and on a trivial note, as soon as he heard there would be nipples on the Batsuit, he 86'd out of there. If he hated that, he hated what he did to George Clooney in 1997. With the Iceman himself, Val Kilmer, taking up the role of the Dark Knight, he would join regulars in Pat Hingle, Michael Gough, alongside newcomers in Chris O'Donnell, Tommy Lee Jones, arguably one of the greatest comic actors in Jim Carrey, and the beautiful and very talented Nicole Kidman as the latest love interest of Bruce Wayne. Will this be seen as a misunderstood 90s flick, or is it possible, through the passage of time, it will finally be appreciated? Let's find out as we go Batman Forever. I think in a lot of ways, this sequel was able to keep the darkness of Batman that had been present in the 89 original, but continued it in a way where you can still feel the emotional weight of what Bruce Wayne had endured in the time since his parents' murder. In the essence of that, the fight choreography is less violent and is more brief compared to some of the fights that Batman was in the previous two. And it's toned back on the sight of blood, which, if you recall from the 89 movie, Bat did get banged and bloodied up in his showdown with Jack Nicholson's Joker, which for my money is still hands down the best version of the Joker. Changed my mind. What this entry into what has become known as the Anthology series, it's more of a reflective and contemplative version of Bruce and explores more of Batman's origin, which had only been explored in flashbacks in the first Michael Keaton movie. The scene of his parents' wake would see Bruce running into the night with a red leather journal that his father had entered into every day of his life, and then seeing the monstrous image of a bat after he'd fallen into the cave. I think of this as fate sending him down a path where he can use his fear against the fearful. Now, think of it this way. If you can master your fear, you could weaponize it. This was around the time that Bruce was becoming a mentor figure to a recently orphaned Dick Grayson of the Flying Graysons. The movie stays true to the comic book origin of Robin, in which his family dies in a tragic accident. What I like that they do with this interpretation is that we see the early signs of him being a hero when he discards the bomb that Two-Face had left in the circus, all because Bat failed to save him from Boss Maroni. This also marked the first big screen appearance of the mob boss. He wouldn't appear again until 2008's The Dark Knight. And speaking of Two-Face, this was a much different take on what would have been reprised by Billy D. Williams, who some of you may know better as Landau Calrissian from Star Wars. He originally played Gotham's district attorney in the 89 Batman, and he was set to reprise his role. But Joel Schumacher had other ideas and he wanted Tommy Lee Jones. Let's be real, the writing made the character camp and way too comical. If this was like an homage to the 60s Batman series, then fine, but considering the very serious nature and tone of the first two movies, it kind of felt like it was being a parody. The whole point of the character is that he's meant to be a tragic story. A man suffering from split personality disorder that shows it mentally and physically through his scarred face and the change in his demeanor, of which Batman the Animated Series did a masterful job of telling his story.
Oh yeah, much better.
As being campy and flamboyant, almost like a copy of the Riddler, except with facial scarring and two-tone attire. And speaking of the Riddler, I think the writing was just letting Jim Carrey be Jim Carrey. You can use your own imagination on that. The Riddler is
the elephant in the room.
the same intellect of Batman, as it takes someone of his intelligence to see through his riddles. Like with Two-Face,
I think the
Riddler
problem
just
was
comes
it was
across as
too
a
much-
camp and
too much
flamboyant
like
figure
Ace
that
Ventura.
seems reminiscent of the 1960s Batman.
Well,
What I do
wasn't
like is
that
how the
what Jim
writing
Carrey
shows
was
how
mostly doing during the
betrayed
90s?
Edward Nygma feels from Bruce Wayne's
Pretty
denial
much.
of his work and becomes obsessed in getting his attention and trying to prove he is his better. Well, at least he didn't make Bats go after Riddler trophies. And then you have the complication
Oh, God.
of Dr. Chase Meridian being
Oh,
thrown into the
yes.
mix. We
And
see
those
her
riddles.
as a specialist consultant for
Oh,
multiple
the Riddler
personality
trophies,
disorder and
no.
someone that Bruce seeks out as he has
Oh, and he
problems with
feels
his
that pain.
repressed memories. And that's another thing.
At least he will.
Dr. Chase Meridian wants the man
If he goes back to the
behind
series.
the cowl
Yeah,
and not the reverse.
sure he
I feel
will.
like
Eventually,
that's a message
he's got a lot of games
for
to
anyone.
finish.
Your loved ones want you for you, and not what you are. I don't think anybody could sum up the theme of duality better than this exchange between Batman and the Riddler.
You see, I'm both Bruce Wayne and Batman. Not because I have to be. Now, because I choose to be.
For 2 hours, it felt like a balanced movie. In the context of it was much more family friendly, but it stayed true to where it came from. Val brings to the table a slightly more contemplative Batman where he sees repressed memories from his parents' wake and he's not really that sure what to make of it. I think most people would feel out of balance if they suddenly started remembering painful memories they tried to repress.
I like this
I would
iteration of
say
Bruce
that
Wayne, honestly.
Kilmer has slightly more emotional range Very than his reserved. predecessor, Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
But then, I would make the point of saying that Michael Keaton's Batman was quintessential, as he's meant to be a quiet figure of the shadows. Okay, this was a real big deal at the time, as Chris was the first live-action Robin on screen since Burt Ward's portrayal in the 60s series. Chris portrays Grayson with a lot of anger and confusion for someone who's seeking answers, of which Michael Goff's Alfred highlights.
Young men with a mind for revenge need little encouragement. They need guidance. You, above all, should know the consequences.
It's got a good rapport.
By the way, just throw
More
shade
with
like
Michael
that.
Goff
It's
than he
so
does with
tasteful.
Kilmer, as the story really had Bruce trying
I think
to
with
deter
anything with
Grayson
this
from going
version
down
of
the same
Robin,
path.
I got a little
Purely
bit
from his
more of
experience, and he
Jason
didn't want to
Todd
see
more than
someone
Dick
else
Grayson.
burdened with what he chose to take up.
Yeah, a little
This is
bit,
a
yeah.
character that
I
wasn't
really
very
wish they
dead,
found
and I
someone a
think
little bit
people
younger.
would
I mean,
have
I
been
understand.
fine
I don't
with
have
it.
a problem with Chris
I didn't
O'Donnell.
really
Just
see any duality.
What's wrong with
Jones
hiring
other
someone
than
who's a young
more
adult?
two-tone
What's
suit
wrong with
and had
that?
sugar and spice that would represent his
Yeah.
calmer and darker
like a lot of the
sides.
freaking
I
dialogue
think
was meant for
had
someone who's a bit
The story
younger.
played much
I'm
more
sorry.
true to the comics than Jones would have gone with.
Because
a different tone.
he's a
and be
freaking
less
adult.
comical.
Why are you being adopted by this man?
Wait for it.
Yeah, that was weird.
Jim, you know this is PG, right? Don't make me say it again. Look, I'm gonna be honest here. At this point in the 90s, whether it was The Mask or Ace Ventura, Carrey would essentially keep playing those roles
There
in
you
other
go.
movies. Whether it was The Cable Guy... We don't talk about
Ah,
that movie.
no.
And even into the 2000s,
Oh,
where he
Lord,
would
not that
play
movie.
Bruce Almighty. That's actually a good movie. I think the makers went after Carrey because
a lot of fun with that
he
one.
knew how to
Yeah.
shoot the scene, and he was the
All you need is
guy for
Bruce.
comedy. He plays the obsessive fan well, and then showing disdain when rejected by his idol, and then the lengths he would go to get Bruce's attention. All that was missing.
I mean, at least the outfit was.
You're gonna miss a joke in a moment.
Notice me! No!
Nicole was used sparingly in comparison to Kim Basinger and Michelle Pfeiffer as the Dark Knight's love interest, and she acts more of
It's me,
emotional support
senpai.
for both him
Notice me.
and his alter ego in Bruce Wayne. She plays a
Damn
professional
it!
that is fascinated clinically and amorously. She wants to get into his head.
Raiden's gonna love me in a minute.
I'll bring you one.
Alright.
You bring your scarred psyche.
Direct, aren't you?
If she wanted to be any more direct, she would have only been wearing that jacket. What is there to say? He was
Notice me!
Michael reprised his role, making his third appearance on screen
Like what
as
you did
Batman's
there.
butler and surrogate father, and he simply got better with each movie. I think the key to a good Alfred portrayal is having the right level of dignity, loyalty, constructive critiquing, and above all else, dry wit. He acts as moral and emotional support to both Bruce and Richard, trying to get both men to see the best in themselves.
And I still can't believe they
wings,
killed
mend in
killed
time.
Alfred off in the
He
comics.
just had this wonderful
Mm.
grandfatherly
not
warmth
cool.
about him to where you could confide in him and he would support and understand you. Michael would reprise his role for a final time in the series with 1997's Batman and Robin. And suffice to say, he was one of the very few saving graces of that train wreck. Okay, real talk here. As good as Hingle was in these movies, he never really did much. Almost to the point where he was essentially a background character. This is something that Nolan and Goyer would really address in the 2005 reboot in Batman Begins, where Gordon is a much more central character to the plot. In this, he just has a few scenes, and then he's gone again. What is there to say about this lady that you didn't already know? She's a sweetheart. Drew's performance as the
to
representation
be fair,
of Den's
the
life
Gothic
side as she
was
dresses
pretty
in
useless
elegant
in this
white
movie,
dresses
or in
and
any of
offering
these
up
movies.
dishes that are
Hey,
befitting
Drew.
of that of a classy banquet.
How
She
you
speaks with
doing?
a soft,
Hey.
sultry tone that really makes this character alluring. Also, people back in the day that would play Batman Forever on the SNES and Mega Drive, Genesis in the States, probably got more than what they bargained
Okay,
for.
to be
when
honest,
Bat
I would take
like
both
her
sugar and spice out on a
to
date.
wear-
How you doing?
Well, a picture speaks 1,000 words. I think
my
Nigel
lord.
Moore has the best response for this. Yep. She doesn't have many speaking lines as opposed to her lighter side in Drew Barrymore, but for what little she's given, she makes the most of it.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
She tries as someone
Dang.
dressing as his darker side in attire, cuisine, and furniture setting. Two cameos I was not expecting to see in the cast live quarter of
Go
a
to
century
horny
later
jail.
are On Vogue and Jon Favreau. On Vogue are the women who see Robin exit the Batmobile, and Favreau is just credited as an assistant.
Yep.
Rick Baker, who you may remember as the man responsible for the werewolf makeup for 1980's An American Werewolf in London, and the remake of The Wolfman in 2010, did the prosthetic makeup for Two-Face, and for all the crap I give how that character was represented,
Oh, I did
at the
not
very
know
least, the
that.
character was decently represented visually. The visual effects were decent, along with Pacific Data images being employed to contribute to the movie. They even created a digital Batman for stunts that would be considered too complicated to do with a live stuntman. The effects served in enhancing the scenes, as opposed to modern comic book movies where the scenes enhance the effects. In scenes where bats would jump from ledges or scale heights courtesy of the grappling hook, you get a sense of how much bigger these scenes feel.
Not gonna lie, that scene is
I'll be
badass.
straight with you. This
Yeah.
is my most favoured Batmobile. My least favoured would appear in the sequel. For the look of this car, it's okay. It's not the Burton-mobile. But then again, what is? But for the look and tone of the movie, where it's lighter and
Pull a
more
Gwen Stacy.
colourful,
Don't pull a Gwen
I can't
Stacy.
lie to you,
reflects
but
that. The Batwing, Batsub,
I
and
can't lie to
Batboat
you.
do
The
their job until
Batmobile that was
Two-Face
in
and Riddler play live-action
Batman Robin, I thought it was better.
At least
And
it
not
wasn't as
because
bad
I'm
as
playing
the
favorites
Battleship
since
movie.
I used to own the remote
So, the
control
effects, they
car
do
when
their
I was a kid.
Elliot Goldenthal took over from Danny Elfman as the composer for the Batman franchise. Despite my criticism down the years of Elfman's lack of range,
Yeah, the
until
Batwing's pretty
Terminator
useless
4,
when he gets shot
for
down by
Batman,
not only
he
the
was a tough
Joker
act
and
to
the
follow.
and
Goldenthal's credits
Riddler.
range from
Just like,
Aliens 3,
yeah,
Interview with a
you need a
Vampire,
new
Final Fantasy, The
Paint
Spirits Within,
bats.
very underrated I might add, and 1993's
Oh, God.
Demolition Man, which, if you pay subtle attention to the score, there are similarities. Elliot took cues from Elfman's Batman theme mainly just to be the hook before he would branch his take on the score into his own. This theme would be the template for Batman for this movie and its sequel before the franchise went into hiatus until 2005's reboot of Batman Begins. The score really helps to enhance Bruce and Richard's stories as it adds emotional weight to their pain of loss and how they grieve and meditate. In a similar way to how the score really complements the romantic and, let's call it like it is, the sexual tension between Bats and Meridian. Oh, please. If it was any more obvious, they'd be playing porno music to this. Don't lie to me. You're all picturing it. And now you can't get it out of your head. You're welcome.
God
Comedy
damn it.
and hypothetical fanfiction aside, the score does a more than decent job of painting the emotion of this movie and its integral characters in the torment they've been through.
Ah, no!
The movie took in $336.6 million off a $100 million budget.
Thanks,
And
MJ.
inflation, it would be worth $621.2 million. The movie took in some favourable feedback. One excerpt from Rolling Stone's Peter Travers has this to say: Batman Forever still gets in its licks. There's no fun machine this summer that packs more surprises. He was, however, critical of the tone. The script misses the pain Tim Burton caught in a man tormented by the long-ago murder of his parents. He did, however, praise Kilmer's performance as deftly understated. Brian Lowry of Variety said, "One does have to question the logic behind adding nipples to the hard rubber batsuit. Whose idea was that supposed to be anyway? Alfred's?" And it's something we're trying to forget. U2 and Seal provided songs for the soundtrack. U2's Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me was nominated at the Golden Globes for Best Song.
Love
and
that
for Worst
song,
Original
man. Oh my
Song at
God.
the Razzies. Ouch.
Mhm.
Seal won the Best Song at the 1996
Yep.
MTV Movie Awards, of which Joel Schumacher directed the music
Okay,
video.
as a kid, I was
Even though the song
obsessed
wasn't
with
played
this
in the
song.
background during the movie, Joel included it in the credits and the soundtrack because he liked Seal's song so much. The movie had promotional tie-ins with McDonald's and, as mentioned earlier, a video game adaptation by then publication Acclaim Entertainment, in which you take on the antagonists of Batman, Robin, or Batman and Robin with cooperative or uncooperative duo modes. The movie has been enjoyed on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K since 1995. I'm MJ Knight.
I had some of those cups as a kid.
I knew somebody who had one of those.
And then they got lost in a move and they broke, and I never saw them
I view
again.
this as
No.
fate descending down a path where
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
fear against the fear fuel. Fear fuel? Fear fuel? Today at five-star
I
gasoline.
gotta say, those
Fearful.
bats were really
Fear what the
well
police will put
crafted.
into your tanks.
They were.
Oh yeah, that's a blooper. Raina's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stock up on Fearful. And for Oni, yeah, Fearful is when Lydia smiles with a mischievous grin. Let's go. Okay, I'm not that bad. Raina. Right.
I know what Lids is Fearfield would
Love you,
be.
Lids, but you sometimes put fear into Oni.
No!
For 2 hours, it felt like a balanced movie. In the context of it was much more. Give me much Batman, laddie.
Kid, stop that!
I don't know, Scottish impression ever. No doubt my bro's gonna be like, you rank amateur, move over. This is how you do it, Billy Godley style. Does that even sound Scottish? Apologies if anyone
Yeah,
could
for the
offended.
most
That's
part.
like the worst Scottish impression ever. My bad. The effects served in enhancing the scenes, as opposed to modern comic book movies where the scenes are to enhance the effects. Okay, never heard of that. Is there like a new version of FedEx that I've never heard about? Move over, FedEx. Here's NFAX. What?
Oh no! I've heard worse.
Hmm.
Ooh, very nice.
Well done, good sir.
Thank you.
Yep, another solid review. I've just seen the comment that Sean's written in the chat.
What does he say? 'Cause I'm still viewing the
Right.
viewing the credit.
Right now, Jim is the Eggman.
Yeah.
But does he have the master plan?
It's probably just as well I did include every single sound clip apparently my neighbors are making noises. Weird. It's probably just as well I did include all the sound clips from the Batman Forever game because Sugar and Spice would make different taunt noises if they won.
Oh no!
Dare we even ask?
You need an adult?
Yes.
How to put this? It would be in the context of
Oh no!
Oh dear. Why?
Because I remembered from playing the video game back in the 90s that it could be a bit suggestive where it sounded like they were enjoying themselves in a way that's not necessarily PG. And I remember just sort of thinking, should I let the public know about that? And like I say, the scene with Dr. Meridian and Bats is like, oh come on! I was like, if it was any more obvious, they would play porno music with that. Because like I said, comedy and hypothetical fan fiction aside, because there's somebody else like, right, I'm just gonna get ideas from this. Take the scene.
You know somebody probably already has. It's the internet.
Rule 34, baby. No prisoners.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for all we know, there's probably Rule 34 fan fiction of the Nostalgia Critic. I don't want to see that personally.
God.
No,
I don't want to see that.
No.
I don't want to see that personally, but you know someone probably already has.
I'm still trying to get the image out of my head when I think it was Dan said that he could envision Doug playing the Hood.
Yeah, the difference is you need a talented actor to play the Hood. And here's the thing. There are some scenes and some projects that Doug does where he legitimately looks like he's trying. I mean, one of the very few that I've seen was the short template Sonic movie that Blue Core Studios did, where you had him and the likes of James Rolfe making a cameo.
Yeah.
And Doug, as a silent actor, he did actually give a lot, because if you look at how most of Vinnie Jones's performance was in Gone in 60 Seconds, he's having to act with about 90% of his screen presence not uttering a single line of dialogue. You've got to be reasonably talented as an actor to do that, and it's only at the end when, you know, he suddenly speaks. It's like, I thought you were supposed to be mute. But, you know, it is what it is. The Team 4-star gag, it was just staring me right in the face when it's like, wait, Nigma's being an obsessive fan towards Bruce Wayne. Notice me, senpai, and I'm like, Trunks and Vegeta.
Notice me!
No!
Oh.
And, well, Raiden's cameo where, let's just call it what it is, Nicole Kidman's hot, no matter
Oh, yeah.
what decade she's in. And I just thought, rather than just put up in text, why not just have an animated gif of Joey going, hey, how you doing? I would have included the audio, but you know how Warner Brothers get.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's not technically footage if someone's just made it as an animated, you know, internet picture. Although you can make the argument that videos are just pictures being animated. GIF's a picture, but GIF's a video, but it's not a video. If that makes any sense. And, you know, everyone was just thinking what we're all thinking. Like, oh, this is why he didn't make Bats go after Riddler tropes. Like, oh, the pain, it's still real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many Riddler trophies did he have to go after in the first Arkham game?
Loads.
I was expected to hear too many. I'll be like, okay, I'll do it.
Arkham City was the end point.
My biggest critique of that game, alright, it offered you way more so than how the first Arkham game gave. I just feel like it... Alright. If you think of Arkham... If you think of the Arkham games as like a meal, the first Arkham game is like a... It's like a medium-sized pizza from whichever pizza takeout joint you go from. So, you know, Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, whichever your preference. You're satisfied with it, but you're left wanting more. Batman Arkham City is 4 Domino's pizzas, 3 cheesecakes, 2 garlic breads, and a whole buffet of all-you-can-eat from Krispy Kreme donuts. You just get done with, say, 1 pizza, and it's like, no, okay, I'm done. But then you're left with so much more to do. And at that point, you're like, no, I can't do no more. Stop. That'd be like... Alright, if we use another analogy, that'd be like if Raiden, you know, goes on a blind date, but he gets to go out with 4 clones of Tatiana Ali. He'd be like, whoa, girls, there's only enough of the Cyber Raiden to go around. Just one at a time, y'all. Though at the same time, probably still looking at Tatiana and go, how you doing? Because, again, that woman's in her 40s, no way. Because she does not look it.
It's like I say, they found the fountain of youth.
Oh, yeah. Lids, thoughts on Batman Forever, nearly 3 decades on? Does it still hold up? And thoughts on the review?
Well, Batman Forever is like a guilty pleasure of mine. It's like, it's cheesy and it's like, it's got its moments where it's like, I don't buy the logistics of that, but it's like, it's one of those things where I can like just put the logistics out the window and enjoy the movie. And then like talk about the logistics later when I'm like, oh wait, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't work. Why is Robin a freaking grown man? But again, I can put those logistics aside and enjoy the movie because it's like it's enjoyable bits. The action's fun. And like a lot of the performances are decent. It's like Val Kilmer's actually, aside from besides Keaton, Val Kilmer does a very commendable job as Bruce and Batman. Yep. He finds a way to balance both of them out, where he can be both Cape Crusader and be Bruce Wayne. Where it's like For most people, they just like either they play one better and one and not as good. So there's like you have to with Batman, you have to like find a balance, and Kilmer actually found a good balance between both of them. And again, I understand that the Riddler is like it's just basically Jim Carrey wearing a Riddler costume. I'm sorry, like just just put the Ace Ventura hair. It's like it'll work perfect for you. And Two-Face was just it was again just over the top. I did not understand why they couldn't get Billy D. Williams back, but it is what it is. And again, a lot of the movie holds up. It's like again, it's dated, but it's not. If that makes any sense. And as thoughts on the review, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really fun. It's like you did another good job.
There you go. Steve, same questions to you.
Out of the 4 Batman movies that were made between the late 80s and 90s, this is the one I've seen the least. I still have memories of the film, not as much as I can remember the others. As always, a good, solid review. Not much to say other than that.
There you go. Raiden, same to you.
With the movie itself, I have a lot of history with it, and I didn't watch the movie until the year after. The only thing I knew about it was just Steele's Kiss from a Rose. Like I said in the video, I was super obsessed with. So yeah, there's that. Also, yeah, what Liz says is true. I thought Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne and Batman was very calm, reserved, like Keaton Batman. I feel like that was a very underrated Batman performance. No one really talks about because it's Joel Schumacher. Two-Face, yeah, I think he was too much. Not like the ones we saw in Batman the Animated Series, which is very well done. You know, especially when Harvey Dent was in a lot of episodes before he made the big change. So, the way they just written them and how they just, just throw out the origin story like it's nothing. That was stupid. Jim Carrey, I always got love for, but yeah, I think it was too over the top as the Riddler, because if you saw the Batman the Animated Series version, it was very well observed. You see a guy that wants vengeance. He just wants to just cause chaos with riddles. He's the type of guy who's a genius, and that's it. And even though I love his version, really, it was too over the top. Chase Meridian, I felt like it was a great balance to Bruce's character. Thought they played each other very each other very well. It's the stuff you really like to see in that type of movie. Now, as for Chris O'Donnell's Robin, I felt like he did really good in this job, but yeah, I felt like he was way too old to be Robin. If anything, he could have been like a Nightwing character, and like I said in the initial video, I felt like he was too like Red Hood before. I think it was too more like Jason Todd before, got axed. I feel like he had that a little bit had that entitlement, but in hindsight, he does have Dick Grayson personality of like he does want to make a difference, make sure he doesn't go through what he goes through. So for what it's worth, I thought it was pretty good. The whole movie itself, I still when it's on TV or I watch it on movies, bless you. I still enjoy it for what it is today. I mean, at times I always go back and watch the music video for U2's "Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me." I thought the song itself was really good. I just like how in your face it was. I like how it told a story with the movie itself. At times, I wish you in one tangent. I wish you see more music videos do that. that accentuates with the movie because I feel like I feel like they don't do that too much.
No.
Yeah. So overall, if it up to me, I give this movie a high. I would say a low matinee. I still enjoy for what it is, even though I know it's less. As for review, you basically hit everything on the nose. As always, it took you back to a time that you know, Batman was everything to me. Still is. I mean, when the new Batman is going to come out, I know for a fact I will watch the hell. I'll watch the hell out of. So yeah, it was great.
Appreciate that. Got my ticket reserved for the Batman because I wasn't gonna miss this one because I feel like in a weird way we've kind of needed a Batman story it's not connected to anything, it's just being its own thing. It's not trying to establish, anything like a cinematic universe. It's just being a standalone franchise, which, I mean, 10 years ago I would have probably said differently, but at the point we're now where shared universes are everywhere, it's actually nice to see something that is just doing its own thing. And there's something to be said for that. But no, Batman Forever was a project, review-wise, I've been looking to do for a while. It was just a question of finding the right time to do it, and then just trying to find the right script and the right sort of direction to go with. So I remember Co92 saying, well, that's a little bit weird, you're doing Batman and Robin before Batman Forever. And I just said, look, I'd bitched about the movie so often down the years, like I just wanted to get this out of my system so that it was done and I could move on. And what people seem to forget is you could very well do a review project for something, but would you have the right idea and the right script and the jokes to go with it? And at the time I didn't have any inspiration, but I think it was only when I started seeing other stuff floating around in my YouTube news feed, I thought, okay, maybe it is time to go back and revisit this, because I would have done the review for this time last year, but then anxiety tapped on my shoulder and says, I'm gonna hold your schedule for about 4 months. Like, yeah, gee, thanks. So, it's all just about catching up and just getting done what I needed to get done. So, as far as the anthology series is concerned, I've done it now. I've done it the way I wanted it. There might come a time where I go back and do another new retrospective for the 89 movie, because again, that movie's a classic, but it's one of those, I've got to have the idea for it, because one idea I'm toying with doing, and I stress toying. Let's see, what we on season? We're on season 17, so season 19 for next year, the second half of it is going to be a Jurassic Park marathon, because in celebration of the original movie's 30th anniversary next year, I'm considering doing a 6-part review series. So it means going back and reviewing the movies again, but it's not like where I'm going to be upgrading all the visuals and the recordings. It just coming with a brand new script, and knowing how I can do visuals and editing and just being a little bit savvier with pauses and what have you, come back and actually do a review of the first movie just even better this time. Because although I like to think of the 25th anniversary review as a step up, even when you look at that review now compared to what I do now, it's night and day. You know, I still enjoy it and I still think it's one of my better reviews, but you know, you're only as good as your last review. So, you know, each time you put up another video, you gotta think, how can I make this one stand out on its own? Because you're not going to, you know, go from a grade A to A plus, A plus plus plus, and then plus 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 every single time. Because no, there's going to come a time where you become a little bit creatively bankrupt and you run out of ideas, and then you slow it down, and then you start seeing things that could work, and then eventually you think, okay, then you start finding your mojo again. And we'll see for next year. So plus I've got some ideas to fill in a couple of blanks for October and November, because Hulktober's done and Turtlevember was done away with last year, so I've got some ideas to fill in the blanks. It just means, and I know Liz is not going to like this year we'll see the end of Broken Timelines, which means Genesis and Dark Fate.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Although from what I've heard, most people are being a little bit kinder towards Genesis than Dark Fate, because at least with Genesis they had an idea, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with Terminator 5, a lot of people are just calling it Terminator Woke Fate. Here's the thing, and this is where I'm going to be nice. From what little I've seen of Dark Fate, visually it looks like an impressive movie. Writing-wise, it sounds like a piece of crap. And again, that's me being nice. Oni, what do you think? Beep! And the Liz comes up and says, oh, by the way, that was a polite opinion. Okay, can we have an unfiltered opinion? And it just looks like crowds like, no, we have to stage an intervention. You don't want that. No. Why do we want this? Like, have you seen the SummerSlam review from 2011? Like, oh, no. Even Raiden's still having PTSD. He's like, oh gosh, why? Because half the stuff, I mean, to be fair, from all of us that participated in that, half the stuff we said in that, we couldn't do that today. It's like, you can't really do that now.
Now we're young.
Yeah, it's why I haven't showed you guys the 2012 review, because just in case Win and Kaiju go seeing this.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Oh no!
Really?
Oh no!
Oh God! Dang it!
Sean, all you need to know is you don't want to know. We will leave it at that.
No, you don't. You don't.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Here's the thing, and this is me playing guy down the middle. A-Log has a lot of knowledgeable facts when it comes to pro wrestling. He is the walking wrestling Wikipedia. His biggest detriment is that he has no filter. Now, there are times where having no filter is actually kind of helpful. Look at CM Punk's pipe bomb in 2011. Told it like it is, took no prisoners. It's just there are times where filter is required. That and CM Punk probably wouldn't have gone admitting that what A-Log said in a review. So we will leave it at that. Although if Punk ever did say that, I'd be like, Punk, you okay there, dude? But, yeah. Is what it is. Because at this moment in time, next review, I'm working on Space Jam. I'm probably going to finalize the writing probably tomorrow, and then get to working on doing the recording and the filming for about 2 to 3 days. Hey, Dan. And then I'll get to work on that. I will say, as kind of a spoiler, I don't go mentioning R. Kelly at all. What I do tend to mention in the soundtrack is, it boasted some of the best offerings for a soundtrack from the likes of Monica, Method Man, Coolio, and to name but a few. So I'm kind of acknowledging his work without actually mentioning his name. Now, the song itself, I Believe I Can Fly, I think I can separate the art from the artist, because the song itself is actually quite pleasant. And it's actually probably one of the best R&B numbers. And I think...
Honestly...
Go on. Go on.
No, go right ahead. After that, I want to say...
Right.
When it comes to songs.
I think if someone wanted to do a cover version of that today, I think if they made it their own thing by making it into their own style, that way they could, take it away from what R. Kelly had done, and it'll just be remembered as their song. One example, because I've said this a few times before, in 1998, Tamia Washington did a cover version of George Michael's Careless Whisper, and this song, it's not really something you can compare, because the basic DNA of George's original is there, but Tamia puts a sassy R&B soul style to it that makes it her own. The sax is still there, and that very sort of guilt tone of cheating is there, but she does it in a way whereby you think, okay, she's taken this and has made it her own. I think if somebody could do that with I Believe I Can Fly, the song will be remembered in a better context for other people in years to come, because whoever can do a decent cover of it and make it so memorable that it makes you forget about the original version, I think the song will go on into the future, but someone has to step forward and make it their own.
Honestly, for me, like when it comes to the soundtrack, nowadays my go-to is Hit 'Em High, that has Coolio, Method Man, LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes. I don't know. It's just, you hear it, it's just it gets your blood pumping, and yeah. I don't know. I mean, I Can Believe I Can Fly is good, but I don't know. It's just I just never been a big fan of it. If anything, I liked Monica's song.
Same.
From the album. For you, I Will.
Yeah. And the thing is, you can apply that song to any setting in life or to any movie, and it's a perfect fit. Because I've seen one or two people actually use that as an AMV for Sonic Saturday AM a couple of times, and it's like, yeah, I could see why that would work. But my go-to with that soundtrack is Seal's Fly Like an Eagle.
Oh yeah, that was great too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, I'm just still trying to finalize the script, because the thing that a lot of people need to remember, there's a big cast list in that, where a lot of the characters are just, people playing themselves, but with a slight fictional spin on it. And after that, it will be the 22nd anniversary of Scary Movie. Oh boy.
Oh no.
And then after that's done, so see, that one will be up for March 28th, because it's a thing with February. Unless February's on a leap year, March begins on the same day as February begins.
Yeah.
So March 28th, that'll be for Scary Movie, and then I'll essentially have just under 3 weeks to get the 25th anniversary review of Titanic done. And then in May, the 20th anniversary of the original Spider-Man. And that one I'm going to approach very seriously, because that movie had an impact on me in 2002, because, we'd seen Batman done multiple times, we'd seen Superman done, we'd seen the X-Men done, but Marvel's most valued MVP since the 60s, because he's had multiple comic book runs, multiple animated series, of which the 90s series is still the best go-to, with Spectacular Spider-Man coming in a very close second. The first Spidey movie, you have to be careful how you approach that, because for a lot of people, that's their childhood. And I will be addressing a few few dated things in there that won't fly today. Like, for example, that's a cute outfit. Did your husband make it for you? Parker, you can't say that today. Nope. I mean, 20 years ago, you could get away with saying that, but now Lids would be like, Spidey, no bueno. No. I thought I'd get a slight laugh out of her for that, but never mind. But again, as Steve will say, made during a more innocent time. You could get away with things like that back then, but now, no. If anything, the Amazing Spider-Man's probably aged better than the very first movie, but at that time when that one was made, people were slowly starting to get offended over anything and everything.
Yeah.
Shame the script didn't age better. Oh, what the hell, Dan? He just goes, oh no, J. Jonah Jameson's going to make #cancel Spider-Man trend. Ugh. What the hell, Dan? Okay, Dan.
Oh.
If I was an affiliate, you'd be donating bits right now.
He does that enough in the PS4 Spider-Man game with his podcast.
Is that with J.K. Simmons voicing JJ, or is it someone else?
Somebody else. It's not J.K. Simmons.
All right.
It sounds similar, but it's not J.K. Simmons.
Who voices him? Really? It is JK.
Are you sure?
And Ultimate Spider-Man, right?
Yeah. In the PS4 Spider-Man series, according to Google, it's JK.
I'm gonna
that's
look
awesome.
on IMDb just to double check.
Yeah, because I'm gonna check that as well. Just IMDb. All right. Let's see. Spider-Man 16 tone. Good lord. Lego Spider-Man. Miles behind a Spider-Man. Oh, very, very clever there, people. Very, very clever there. Let's see. Probably easy just to type in J.K. Simmons. Yeah, go to his actual page, dang it. Let's see. Marvel Spider-Man was 2018, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. I was in Robot Chicken as Master Chief.
What?
Okay, this is news to me. Huh. It's not showing up on there. That's interesting. Spider-Man Far From Home, J. Jonah Jameson. Huh. How odd. Huh. Okay. Dan says, hey, Jameson would do anything to get Spider-Man cancelled. Yeah, he probably would. He's a menace.
I could say that about Jameson, but what would I know?
Yeah, no. It is what it is. Yep. We're at that time now, folks, where 2 hours are up. That'll be it until episode 170. No review for next week, because, again, I need time to do these reviews and do them properly. One of the very few things I agree with Modern Nostalgia Critic, if you go back to look at The Review Must Go On, he goes and says new reviews every 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Like, look, if you want to make, if you want me to make them funny and consistent, you have to give me 2 weeks, because there was a time where he was putting out a new review every week, and you could tell writing, pacing, and editing, it was all over the place. Whereas if you gave him time just to iron everything out, it would be decent.
And then he went back to that.
Yeah,
he went back to 1 week, going back on his word yet again.
The only time where I kind of bend that rule is if it's a season opener and I give people a little more than what they were expecting. Like with the summer season opening, where I gave not only Star Trek Generations but Thunderbirds as well, and this season I opened up with The Man and the Founder. And what I'll probably be doing once Real Features takes a break for the summer, because theoretically I could probably do 3 seasons of that show in 1 year, but you do get to a point where you just want to take time off. Just have a little rest, calm things down, because I'm essentially doing, three main shows a month. This on a Sunday, real features every 2 weeks on a Monday, and then I do, a weekly live stream on here on Twitch with Sonic Tuesdays and Jurassic Wednesdays. And I had noticed my follower count has gone up again slightly on Twitch, so I'm 21 away from making affiliate. But what I'm probably going to do, just to be smart about this, is I probably won't start taking in the rewards of it until I'm, say, at 60 to 80 followers, because then you've got that safety net. Because whereas times I was made YouTube partner before, I didn't take the moment to appreciate it and savor it, and I kind of went too far ahead to see what I could get monetized on my YouTube channel. So, this time I'd like to think I'm a little bit more mature and calmer to be like, whoa, hang on. Let's just pace ourselves with this. Let's not go too far ahead. Let's just enjoy the moment. Just enjoy it for what it is, because it can always be taken away again. Thanks, Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Now,
He started on them.
And this
honestly, if I can interject, if you ask me, I feel like Logan has gotten better when it comes to being humanish. His brother, on the other hand, that's a whole can of worms.
Oh, his brother's a Steven Pilot shit.
Yes.
Because here's the thing. The changes that were coming to YouTube would have happened anyway. It's just that Logan accelerated the process. And unfortunately, because of that, I was departnered as a result. And it's like, oh, thanks. Dan just said, I had a disturbing rumor about the multiverse of madness that Toby will return again as a Spider-Man, only to get killed by Wanda. At this point,
Hope not.
no, as I was about to say, at this point, just let that be a rumor. I still can't believe Logan Paul and Johnny Knoxville will be part of WrestleMania this year.
honestly, I don't mind Knoxville. I mean,
I don't mind Knoxville. Jake Paul's the problem.
Logan.
Okay,
Logan.
excuse me. Sorry. I get those two confused.
Well, here's the thing. Johnny Knoxville is a tried and tested physical veteran that gives it all in the ring. The other one's Logan Paul.
Ah!
But I don't know. Like I say, it's all just about savoring the moment. Just appreciate for what it is. It'd be like, I don't know. Let's say for blanking on names. It'd be like if Raiden goes to a Kelly Rowland concert, let's say for the sake of discussion, and he's just sitting in the audience, and then she just happens to go up and then just pats him on the shoulder and then blows a kiss. He'll be like, okay, I'm gonna just appreciate this for a minute, just let this sink in. It's just like, okay, I'm good. And plus, Kelly, stick with the redhead look. That's where you shine the best. Also, very underrated compared to Beyonce. I just feel like Kelly never really got her due,
Quite frankly, she's a much better actress.
Well, yeah.
Even though she was in Freddy vs. Jason.
Hey, again, I will say that Freddy vs. Jason is not as bad as you think it is.
Oh no! I get that. It was just the dialogue that got on my nerves. When they actually fight, that was actually fun.
Well, it's something that people never thought would happen, like Aliens versus Predator. Then they started making a meal out of it. But
The sequel is Requiem was trash. That's all I gotta say.
isn't that the one where they're supposed to be in a pyramid, buried deep within the
No,
South
no,
Pole?
that was the first one.
movie.
Ah.
The second one is where they invade a small town and apparently the predator half alien thing is killing people. I don't know. That plot's like really weird.
Very.
And less we say about the movie The Predator, it doesn't get Raiden so irked up.
Damn it! No.
No.
Bruh, it was just honestly, it was more insulting, especially with the kid who had autism.
Yeah, apparently how they say that autism was the next stage of human evolution. I'm like, no.
Because I think, from your perspective, Duran Garber summed up the best. Where do I start? And you chime in, you too.
Yeah.
I think with regards to, movie franchises like Predator, there's a reason why they go away for such a long time, because people keep trying to match what Schwarzenegger did with the original. It's like, no, don't try and match what he did. Just try, be inspired and take ideas and cues that may help a future sequel or reimagining, but don't try and match it move for move. I mean, there's a reason why the original Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, and Jurassic Park stand the test of time, is because they made those movies to be their own thing. When you start copying other people or trying to match what was already done, it's like, well, what's the point in making these new movies when you've got these other ones to look at from? It's like when people say, oh, for Ghostbusters 2, or just copy a lot of things that they did in the first movie, but you could just watch the first movie then.
What's the point?
Exactly. I mean, a lot of people in some ways think that the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, was essentially copying the first movie. To a point, I agree. But at the same time, Amazing 1 was not trying to mirror move for move and gag for gag, or in Toby's case, what little gags he did drop in his movies. Because Garfield was just trying to be his own thing.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that his version's actually getting a lot of love and recognition. Because he wasn't the problem with those movies, it was the script.
The writers and...
I think if anything, the first movie was actually pretty good. I mean, I think one of my also favorite scenes is where he's trying to save the kid, and he actually unmasks himself. Like, hey, I'm just a normal guy like you. He gave him the mask, like save. Like that shows the humanity.
Exactly.
That shows humanity Spider-Man always brought to people. So I thought that was really good. I don't know. It's like he brought just how Spider-Man is. Yes, he's gone through tragedy, but through all of it, he's just a joke. He's a jokester. That's all. That's always been him.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And then Spider-Man 2 happened, and it just, oh good lord.
That's what happens when execs take have too much of a say in a movie. They just overcrowd it.
They do. Good lord, do they ever. As I've said so many times before, I don't get it. I don't want to get it. Yeah. I'm going to leave it. We're going to leave it there because I got to think about getting ready for other things tonight. So, thank you for tuning in for this week, folks. We've gone slightly over time, but you know what? It's all good. I've been MJ Knight. saying good night from the night, and don't forget to follow and subscribe to Onirakaku at twitch.tv/Onirakaku, and when you do, tell him that MJ sent ya.
I have been Steven. Don't forget to check out MJ Knight's Teespring page and check out Kaiju Noir's comic series Primal Voical Zoo, issues 1, 2, and 3, now available on Amazon.
And Comixology.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have been the awesome one, and sorry, go ahead.
And don't forget to send all praise and appreciation to Awesome Lydia, because she's the one who actually keeps Oni sane.
And soon, hopefully, I'll be able to start streaming myself once I move in with Oni and got things settled in there. So, see what happens.
Right on.
Oh, and I have been the cybernetic, energetic, Matt, the mightiest disciple, Raiden. Just basically check out our social media, keep up with us, see what's going on. Twitter, I will warn you, I don't play. I will roast anything that annoys me. So, stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Night, everybody.
All right. Take it easy, folks, and thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.